Hi, I'm Bekopin and this is Rappler. This episode of Rappler Talk is a special one because she's a returning guest, although technically it was on a different show. But on this episode of Rappler Talk, we are joined by no other than Miss Trans Global 2020, a very good friend, Mela Habijan. Hi, Mela.
Hi, Bea!
Hello, love the hair. O, diba? May debut pa tayo ngayon ng bagong haircut ni Mela. On
Correct. This is the first time I am showing everyone in a show.
O,
This hair,
diba?
I am loving it.
Premiere. Debut. Okay.
Oh,
So, kamusta?
mabuti. Kung tinanong mo sa akin to November of last year, I am so not okay because of what happened with
Yes.
Ulysses. Our house got flooded. So itong buong espasyo na to na nakikita nyo, this got flooded. But I'm so happy that my family and I were able to surpass that challenge. And I guess because it's the second time that it has happened to us, the trauma was there, but the strength and the unity of the Habijans being together, holding each other's hand, allowed us to see hope in that situation. And right now, I am beginning 2021 with so much happiness in my heart, knowing the fact that 2020 wasn't as good for everyone. But the challenges that I've faced last year allowed me, I think, to hold on to opportunities that came along my way. So I'm so ready for 2021.
Right. No, kasi talking about 2020, like, you have a lot of titles under your belt. Among them, you host, you're a live host for events and among other things. So, di ba, parang 2020 really was difficult for the industry that you operated in. But Miss Trans Global happened last year. Like, paano nangyari yun? How did you even learn about it and why did you decide to join it?
You know what? It's very interesting because as I was browsing through Facebook, so tinitignan ko lang yung mga posts ng mga friends, and then a good friend of mine, my fellow trans sister, who's based in the UK, and one of the
Mm-hmm.
organizers actually of Miss Trans Global, Rika Paras, posted the advertisement about Miss Trans Global. And since I've always dreamt of becoming Miss Universe, I learned about it. So I watched the ad, I clicked on the link. So it led me to the website. I tried to navigate through it and see if I could join. And I was eligible. So automatically I said to myself, this could be the chance to
Yeah.
fulfill a dream that I have once dreamt when I was 4.
Okay, let's talk about that. Like, nakwento mo na to sa akin actually before, no? Parang, bakit? Like, why do you think, even as a very, very young child, like, why did you always dream to join a pageant, to win a pageant, obviously? Saan nanggaling yun, yung dream na yun?
Well, it all started with Miss Universe 1991. If you allow me to
Go ahead, go
to
ahead.
bring back to that memory, I was watching it as a 4-year-old kid, and I was so fascinated by the candidates on stage, just being regal and the beauty that they are actually presenting, plus the fact that they are carrying the countries that they were representing. For me, it was a solid ground that led me to the idea that one day I would want to become like them. I would like to wear Philippines on my body, carry the flag, and be able to just show how great I am as a person. So I guess back then there was a hope for me that I could I could also be like them and show the world. So I want the world to be my stage and see me as someone who can carry myself well. And then, yun, with that dream, even though as a kid, I was denied because
Yeah.
yun nga, I'm trans,
Right.
I held on to that identity. I held on to that hope that one day I could fulfill that dream and I could be a queen and speak before an audience, speak before the world, and just be able to carry through a certain message that I want to stand. And in my case, it is the trans rights movement, the trans
Right.
advocacy that I've always been pushing for since I came out in 2017.
Right. You know, the more I think about it, like I can only imagine for younger kids now, like if they read about you winning Miss Trans Global and if they read about the context of your dream and you were a 4-year-old, parang, di ba, parang it's not even just about children who might still be discovering their identities or coming to terms with who they are. But di ba, parang it's also a very, it's proof that despite what other people will tell you, parang may paraan somehow, I guess? Or is that too positive of me to think na yun yung nangyayari din dito?
I think when we try to think about the experiences that I've had, I thought when I was growing up, I won't have a space being a part of the
Yeah.
LGBTQ plus community
Yeah.
because there were certain moments that I've dreamt of something. For example, I wanted to be seen on this singing competition when I was
Right.
16. Lumakas yung loob ko mag-audition because I won RSM Idol in Ateneo
Oh my
nung
God.
time ko. So sabi ko, you know what? I'm really good at singing. So sige, ilaban natin to. And then, come audition day, I got through 3 audition stages. At dun sa final audition, I was told that my identity was confusing because
Right.
I, I move like a woman, but I sound
Right.
like a man. And I'm
Right.
like, what's wrong with that? So
Right.
sabi ko, parang wala ata ako magiging espasyo at magiging mahirap for me to try at the least to see myself on television because I'm different. And
Right.
somehow I lost that drive to see myself owning a space.
Right.
However, throughout my experience, I think I have discovered that I have the power not just to reclaim, but to create spaces. To
Right.
create spaces in which I can grow and I can foster the things that I have. It is a must for me to be able to create these spaces because when I am rejected by certain people or certain organizations, at least the spaces that I create will be one, appropriate for me, two, kinder to me, and three, it is a space that wherein I can shine the brightest and I know I will work the hardest because I created it.
Right. You know, parang ang ano nga na you talk about creating space in 2021 and like, reflecting on an experience when you were 16, you would think na by now there would be spaces, more spaces for anyone, for any kind of person, even if they're different, quote unquote, from norms of society or what we're stubbornly used to. Pero parang uh, I'm getting ahead of myself. But siguro the question here is, what for you does Miss Trans Global stand for? Given nga ito yung reality ngayon na parang, di ba, parang there's still so much effort in creating even just spaces for us, not even, di ba? Not even to thrive or to excel, pero bigyan lang ng espasyo man lang sana, di ba?
Kasi minsan kasi 'di ba parang ang hirap na at the onset pinagkait na sa yung espasyong yon that you don't have that right because they think that you are not normal. And that being said, it's so hard to just simply prove your worth to people kasi ang first layer is you have to prove na hindi ka mali. 'Di ba? That your existence is actually something that it should be validated on its own because I am a person and I have so many things within me and the capacity that I have are blessings. If you are a person of faith, I am. These are blessings from the supreme being that created me. So it is not against the nature of humanity. That being said, Miss Trans Global allowed me to be able to harness that message in which I can simply stand proudly. I can communicate and I can tell the world that this is a trans woman from the Philippines. She can carry herself well. She is smart. She is talented. She is someone who embodies empowerment and can empower other people, whether they be trans, LGBTQIA, or simply
Yeah.
cisgender heterosexual people. Diba? Kahit
Right.
na sino, I believe I can inspire through my words and the things that I do. I am capable of that. And Miss Trans Global allowed me to showcase that. Hence, winning the title, I think it gave me so much pride and dignity to myself as a trans woman, because I now carry myself with confidence that in anything that I do, there will always be a reminder that this space has made me the queen that I once wanted. More
Yeah.
importantly, this made me the trans woman, the empowered trans woman I believe I am destined to be.
Okay. Wala na akong madagdag dun sa sinabi mo. Pero, um, and siguro to steal from gaya sa pelikula, parang 'di ba? You are, but it's also a way to validate not just yourself but like for any trans individual din na parang 'di ba parang this is another push forward, which is not easy because it's always a push forward. It's not even a nudge kasi anyway, you have to create space. But okay, so walking through, I mean, it's difficult enough to join a pageant. I know people always think pageants are just ganda-ganda lang, or di ba parang it's just shallow and glitz and glamour. But it's trust me, if you've been behind the scenes of any pageant, it's intense. And I would imagine mas intense to kasi you're locked in at home because it happened during the quarantine. What is the experience like?
Um, Sobrang hirap, because aside from preparing yourself to become beautiful on camera, I was also preparing the things behind the camera. So I'm not just only the contestant, but I'm also the producer. I'm also
Script writer.
the creative person behind my videos. Luckily, I have my sisters and my brother with me along the way. Ang galing na parang the stars have aligned that my brother and my sisters are fond of one, watching videos online, to producing videos themselves. So it became easier, and I think nandun yung fun and joy na parang, oh, I am competing, pero I am competing together with my family along the way. So through the journey of Miss Trans Global, I wasn't alone. I didn't
Right,
feel lonely. I felt excited about it because I saw my family beside me.
right. Right. Alam mo, if you're watching this, you should check out Mela's social media, her Instagram. She documented all, like, not all, but some of the behind the scenes work. Like, yung video mo yung, I forget which portion of the pageant that was, pero basta rumarampa ka. And then I think months later, it was only months later where you posted the behind the scenes na literally pala yung cameraman, yung kapatid mo ata, at naglalakad talaga siya backwards para maging tracking shot
Yes.
for the what was that like for your family also? Because obviously, there was no issue in when you came out for your family. But what was it like being like working that closely together, for a beauty pageant?
You know what, Bea? Kaya nga every time I post and every time I write a message about being a trans woman, it is a must for me to tell the story of how accepted I am and loved I am by my family. Because to everyone who sees me as empowered, as strong, that came from the fact that I have a beautiful home in which I am secured and I am safe. They provided me with the assurance that no matter what, even if I step outside and the world will actually see me as a failure, um, I am not to them. Hence, I always come with a mindset that I will be victorious in my journey, because the family is there. They have provided me with wings so that I can fly the highest. And
Right.
knowing the fact that I myself is competitive, um, sobrang akong competitive, eh. Yung desire to just be good at what I'm doing and the desire to just be my best in every single thing that I do, mas lumalakas kasi alam ko my family is applauding me on the sides.
Right.
So, um, para sa lahat ng mga magulang, sana makita ninyo yung value of support, yung value of
Right.
acceptance. I know where you're coming from because I also saw that with my parents. I mean, they had a time in which they reflected because my parents
Right.
are Catholic and they
Yes.
are leaders in the church. So they processed it and they
Right.
processed the idea of LGBTQIA with
Yes.
me as I was
Yes. Yes.
going through my journey. And I guess knowing and they are secured that I can do
Yes.
well in life, and they are secured that they have taught me and somehow brought me up to be someone who wants to be kind, someone who just simply wants to be my best in anything that I do. They are very secured with their parenting.
Right.
And
Right.
seeing me grow and seeing me fly. Actually, 'di ba nag-post nga ako, yung mama ko tuwang-tuwa dahil sabi niya,
Yun ba yung naka-gown din siya?
oh, nakagaon
Yung
din siya. Nakagaon din siya. Tapos sabi niya, alam mo, isa sa mga hindi ko makakalimutan, sabi niya, anak, nanalo ka ng corona, pero yung corona, hindi lang sa'yo yan, sa akin din. At proud ako na meron akong anak na Reyna. Diba? That's something worth, kumbaga parang, it is very significant to my growth as a person because
right.
my parents are are believers, are
Right.
believers of who I have become.
Right. Right. Kung baga, parang the support system is literally at home,
It is.
which unfortunately not everyone has that. Right. But we'll talk about that more later. What was okay? It was a very unique pageant in that it was all online. Videos were submitted, announcements were made online lang. You didn't get to meet your fellow contestants and the organizers like in person, right? Obviously because of the pandemic. But I think yung advantage dun is in effect you got two coronations because you were
Yeah.
crowned live when it was announced, and then you were crowned again when the literal crown arrived in the Philippines. So what was the two experiences like? Like first hearing your name being announced and hearing the Philippines being announced, and then second actually seeing, the symbols of the win.
I think that's what made it special.
Yeah.
That even if the pageant was held on a digital space, we weren't present, the candidates weren't present and weren't
Right.
standing side by side. I think what made it special was I was holding my sibling's hand
Right.
during the announcement of the winner, and at the same time, my coronation was facilitated by my parents.
Right.
So, knowing the fact um, that my family, who has been the strongest force with me joining the pageant, and they were with me in every single step of the way, the the win was more than the crown that was
Right.
bestowed upon on my head.
Right.
It was actually the significant moment in which I can just tell the world, this is the beauty of having a loving home. This is
Right.
the beauty of making sure that every single LGBTQIA receives the love that they actually deserve to be getting. From whom? From the family.
Right.
And that will always be a reminder that um my crown is more than just being Miss Trans Global, but
Yeah.
a carrier of that message, of that sense of love and nature of family.
Right. Which kind of answered my next question, which was supposed to be like, you always have people insisting that pageants are shallow, pageants are irrelevant. But again, I would argue if they were irrelevant, sana wala nang pageant na in existence ngayon, di ba? Pero on top of what you said earlier, like, what do you think, like, for you at least personally, or maybe for the LGBTQIA community, like, what significance do pageants like these have? And even the main, like, the di pala centuries, sabihin ko sana centuries, yung decades old pageants like Miss Universe a few years back, di ba, si Miss Spain is a trans woman. Like, what does that, anong relevance nito? Eh, parang for others, ganda lang yan, or, it's just about the gowns and the makeup.
I mean, well, historically naman, pageants have been, I think, in the notion of being superficial because it was just seen as a display of beauty. But
Right.
along the way, when contestants became eloquent, when they became smart, and when they are seen as not just as pageant contestants, but women who are doing something
Yes.
in the society, like lawyers, doctors, you have members of the military, etc. So these women carry within themselves that type of purpose that they are doing something in the society. And I think the pageant stage is a perfect venue for them to amplify that certain message that I, a woman, is
Mm-hmm.
capable of doing something for myself, for my family, for the people who believe in me, and for the society in which I belong to. And that is something very powerful because when you watch a pageant and just see them as purely as glamorous, of course, on stage, of course, that's visual presentation. But when you hear queens speak, when you hear them speak with so much confidence and so much pride and raising the flag of being a woman or a man or a trans person or whatever gender you are in the spectrum, that is a solid attribution and a solid manifestation of the characteristic of that power that they possess. And that is to be able to realize, to make people realize that this is a venue um, in which conversations can be cultivated, conversations about social issues can be discussed. Diba?
Right.
In the past, I think decade of Miss Universe, the final question and even the top five questions always about women issues
Yes.
that women and the world face. So ang ganda-ganda nung evolution of
Right.
pageant
Agree.
through the years. And somehow, I can say that pageants will remain relevant as long as we see women, men, LGBTQI people interested in discussing social issues that affect us.
Right. Ang ganda nun. It's relevant because the women who are part of it, and men, because there are also male pageants, the women and men who are part of it make it relevant because what they have to say is relevant. Um, Also, parang I see no problem din in it about being beauty lang, especially when you talk about representation. Kasi like, I'm gonna seg into something that's not so positive. And I apologize to you for this because when we wrote about your cover, when you were the cover girl of a magazine, we still had a lot of hate comments, um, as Facebook does. But you chose to engage. I mean, you put the person in his her their place, but you engaged that commenter. Siguro yung tanong, saan ka nakakahanap ng patience to to educate and to engage yung mga hateful, uneducated opinions.
Siguro nakita ko siya sa nature of my parents being teachers.
Right.
Diba? Lagi nating sinasabi na as advocates of the LGBTQ plus community, as activists for that matter, we are educating. We are raising awareness with the nature and the issues and the plights of LGBTQI people throughout the history of mankind. I guess when you are trying to educate people, you're also at a standpoint of a teacher. And a teacher
Yeah.
should always be patient no matter what, because
Right.
that's part of the learning process. To be able for students to learn, we need a patient teacher. And that's where I am coming from. I
Right.
need to be patient so that um, in every single message that I am trying to relay every single day, there is always one person who will be listening to me. There will
Right.
always be one open mind who's willing to hear the perspectives. And that's the process in which I believe in. So there may be hateful comments. That is inevitable.
Right.
Um, hindi ko na yun dinideny na parating mayroong pangmamalit. Kasi to
Yeah.
begin with, naman na ang tingin sa amin ng lipunan. But how do we change that? By trying, one, to see ourselves that we are bigger than what the society thinks of us. Number two, by trying to open the communication lines so that those who are not knowledgeable, those who want to learn, and those who are eager to meet us and just hear our voices and hear our stories will be able to understand the things that we are going through. And to those who are close-minded, I think they're not my audience anymore. They're not our
Right.
audience anymore. I'm no longer wasting my time with them, but I do engage with them so that they'll know that what they're doing is wrong.
Right.
It's
Right.
very it's very important that whenever there is a certain thing or a certain comment, for example, I be, I believe that Representative Brother Eddie Villanueva is someone who is close-minded about the LGBTQ plus community. I
Mm-hmm.
still want to engage with him.
Did
I
he reply to your? You wrote a letter, right? Like a formal letter to his office. To
I
it,
did. I
did he
did.
reply at all?
Unfortunately, he did not.
Okay.
Unfortunately, he did not. But it's okay.
Right.
But I am still opening my lines to I don't know how to label them, but to Christians, to
Yeah.
to fa- uh, to Bible-based Christians, that there are things that they must see beyond their understanding of the
Right.
Bible.
Right.
Because I think, sabi nga ng tatay ko, and this is something I will carry within me for the rest of my life. Sabi niya, kung titignan mo naman yung Gospels in which Jesus was there, and Jesus is very instrumental to Christianity. Sabi mo,
Right.
wala naman doon na pangahamak sa kahit na sinong tao. Wala doong pang-aapi sa LGBTQ plus community. Never siyang nagsabi na at nang maliit ng mga tao, pero nagalit siya. Nagalit siya sa mga taong mapanghusga na ang tingin nila sa sarili nila ay mas mataas sa ibang tao. At sana ito daw yung makita ng mga taong nagbabasa ng Biblia kasi ang tingin nila sa sarili nila ay mas malinis at mas mataas kaysa sa komunidad namin. And that hit me. That really hit me. Coming from my dad, who's very spiritual,
Right.
who has a strong Catholic faith,
Right.
um, that is an eye opener on my end, and I will use that. I will
Right.
use that in the process of me educating people who want to be educated and learn from me along the way.
Right. Okay. I don't want to like put your father on a pedestal, but I personally feel like he is someone to aspire for, especially for parents of LGBTQIA children, right? Na parang, because like you said, what was his journey like? Because like you were saying kanina, hindi naman instant, na gumising siya, na okay, gets ko na yung spectrum, gets ko na ang soji. Hindi naman ganon, na parang magically he understood everything. So, what was that process like? And what do you think maybe parents who are watching this or who might one day stumble upon this interview, like what can they learn from your father's own process?
I think it all starts with a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
A conversation in which you will just open your hearts to your kid, and the kid will just open their hearts to their parents. Kasi doon din naman nagsimula yung journey namin ni Papa. I remember back in college, very instrumental yung Philosophy 101 lesson with Sir Jope Guevara. Sir Jope, hello. Alam mo yan. Malaking bahagi ng buhay ko si Sir Jope because I learned this lesson on love and fear. Fear is the opposite of love. And when you are living in fear, you are unfree. So I know that I love my father, but I was so afraid of him. I was so afraid that he won't accept me. I'm so afraid that he would see me as someone whom he can't be proud of. So laging nandun yung fear. Hence, parang when I was a teen, I thought it was so hard to harness a relationship with my papa. But then again, I wrote him a letter. Sabi ko sa kanya, takot ako sa'yo. Takot akong ibukas yung puso ko. Kaya, yung takot na yun, lagi yung humahang dun sa pagmamahal na meron ako sa'yo. I love you as my father and I want to harness and foster that love so that I can grow more as a person. And with that, doon nag-start yung pag-uusap namin tungkol sa buhay, tungkol sa kung ano yung gusto kong direksyon para sa buhay ko. And along the way, napag-usapan namin kung ano ang ibig sabihin ng transgender, bakit nagta-transition, nakita niya yung mga kaibigan ko na trans women, but they're doing their best. So that gave him the open mind to learn because of the conversations. So if you want to see the beauty of every single LGBTQIA, whether you're a parent, you're a kid, you're an ally, or you're someone who is curious about us, always engage in a conversation. Because that will bring you and that will lead you to understanding.
That's so true. No, honestly, just like ask nicely. Like, syempre, wag ka naman magtanong with the intention of insulting, like, because that's obvious, right? But ako honestly, in the past 3 years, I think I've learned so much just by talking to people and by admitting na marami akong hindi nagigets. Marami akong kasi my God, like, 4 years ago, wala akong naintindihan sa soji. Like, I did not understand what the hell soji was about. But then I asked the right people, or I might have also asked the wrong people, but I kept asking questions, and eventually, parang unti-unti nagigets ko na right now. And I wouldn't claim to know everything because I obviously
we don't know everything, diba? Even I, as a trans advocate and activist, I still don't know everything. I have so many things to learn about the community and about the growth of a certain person just by discovering his, her, their gender and sexuality. You know what? It also brings me back to my learning of me being a transgender because I didn't know the term. It only came about mga 2012, diba? When my dear sister Kevin Balot won Miss International Queen, diba? And our sadly our trans sister Jennifer Laude got killed. Doon natin narinig and doon ko natutunan yung salitang transgender. And of course, I was guided by my trans sisters, Jandy, Louie, and Patch, who came out before me. And that moment in which I was also curious about the nature of being trans, what it's like, and the challenges and the victories that a trans person can have in his, her, their life. Dun ko talaga nakita yung halaga ng pagtatanong, diba? Of really learning. And because of the people I encounter throughout my journey, dun na-strengthen yung courage, na-strengthen yung hope, and na-strengthen, I guess, yung dignity ko as a trans woman.
Right. What are your plans for 2021? Like, as just Mela, and also as Mela, the beauty queen, like, what do you have projects that you can speak about specifically for your advocacies, or just like what's in store for 2021?
There are so many things I would love to do this year, Bea.
Are you going back to acting? Please tell me.
I hope so.
There's a project.
I hope so. I really, really hope so. I mean, if there are roles that I can audition for, I would go for it. And I
Yeah.
advise every single trans woman or trans man or LGBTQIA person, pag may audition, 'di ba? Especially in the light of BL series nowadays, for sure there
Yes.
will be a lot of BL and LGBTQIA stories along the way. Mag-audition tayo. So I look forward to auditioning to roles that can forward transgender identities, 'di ba? I miss acting. I really, really, really miss acting. And that's something I want to do. I still want to write. I still want to contribute to Rappler. So,
After this
maganda
recording,
tayo.
actually, yun
'Di
yung
ba?
ulterior motive ko pala, kaya ko in-interview si Mela. Gusto ko kausapin. For
Oh, kasi
ano. No,
I
but I
really
forgot to mention this sa opening, but she Mela also acts. I think most ano yung easily accessible online. Manillennials, right?
millennials, yes.
Is one of the na pinaka, I mean, you have other projects but they might not be as accessible online. Which makes me wonder, like, you have a lot of things going on, especially pre-pandemic, but I think nadagdagan pa siya during the pandemic. May entrepreneurship na nahalo sa list of sa resume. But like, is there one thing that you enjoy doing the most, especially?
I just really love talking to people.
Right.
Hence, I am so happy that I was able to produce Threesome last year and got to interview people from different walks of life. It allows me to learn. It allows me to discover. It allows me to just enjoy the fact that I am in the presence of people who are also wanting to learn about their lives, who are also wanting to share what they have learned so far, and who are looking forward to a good life themselves. So that's something that I really really enjoy the most. Hence, nag-pause man ng threesome for quite some time. Ibabalik natin yon this year. Threesome will be alive soon. And I look forward to talking to different people from all walks of life, just gaining lessons in life that they've learned throughout living their lives. So yon, I am excited for that. I also enjoy watching series, and
As
aside from
your
yes,
background
uh, as
in
my
that.
background says, my son and my son-in-law, ayan, I am into watching BL series, K-dramas, American series, whatever type of series or movies there are on different platforms like Netflix or iWant or whatever. Nanonood ako talaga because I'm a storyteller, and
Right.
um, I am challenging myself to write a narrative soon. So sabi
Oh.
ko, meron akong 4 concepts in mind, pero natatakot kasi ako na gawin. Pero sabi ko nga, ano ka ba, Mela? Ang dami mo nang laban na naipanalo. Ngayon ka pa ba matatakot? Hindi,
Ngayon
pero
ka pa aatras sa dami na.
oo. Humami na nga ako sa crush ko siya. In
Alam ko
public.
yan. Yes.
Oo, ngayon pa ba ako mawawala ng kumpiyansa sa sarili ko? So I guess, so yun. So that's also something that I look forward to doing this year. And of course, my reign as Miss Trans Global, I will be using my platforms, the platforms I have right now on social media and off social media, to just simply be a support system to young trans girls, to highlight LGBTQ plus victories, and to be able to foster a good relationship with cisgender women like you. Kasi importante for me that we hold each other's hand in the course of this, kumbaga parang conversation. Ayoko kasi siyang tawaging debate eh. But it is a
Yes.
conversation on whether cisgender women and transgender women would come together. And I think, and I strongly believe, that we need to hold each other's hand, because it is a must for this patriarchal society to understand that women like us and all of us women have the power to change this world.
I like that imagery of holding each other's hands. And maybe that also applies not just to women, but even to men who are willing to be true allies. And like, again, hindi man lang, hindi natin hinihingi na like more space, or women dominate as many people misunderstand. We're just asking for an equal opportunity. Yun nga, espasyo that you were mentioning kanina. Um, I want to end this interview with a rather beauty queen question. People might think it's corny, but I think given everything that you've been discussing, and all the things that you've gone through, not just in 2020, but like in your life in general, no? Like what to you is a woman? And I'm interested to listen to this because I think I asked you this sa
Yes.
podcast interview. So I want to see if it changed through the years. Years, yes, it's been more than a
It's been
year.
a year. It's been more than a year. Oo nga, in fairness. Hala, beauty pageant, 30 seconds ba to?
Hindi naman, hindi naman. Wala tayong ganong time limit. Ano, we encourage long answers and explanations.
Uh, I think right now, going through my journey to womanhood, I have understood myself in the light of what kind of woman have I become, and what kind of woman do I want to achieve. And I see a woman as a leader, as someone who is capable of influencing, as someone who is capable of engaging and empowering other people to look into their souls, look into their own power, so that they can also unleash that and share that power to other people. I think that is someone a woman possesses, because she is capable of understanding different perspectives and different natures, because it comes from the sensitivity of women. So for me, a woman who is capable of standing her ground and being able to have a vision is someone who can also not just lead people to becoming their whole selves, but also transform the society in a better place and transport us into an understanding and compassionate society, because that's what we need right now. And as a trans woman, I can say I am slowly becoming the leader that I want myself to be.
Exactly. To learn more about Mela, about her advocacies, and about Miss Trans Global, what social media accounts can they follow, and can they subscribe to, if there are pages or channels that they can follow?
Yes, thank you so much, Bea, for this opportunity to
No, thank you
converse
for
with you
dropping by.
again. It means a lot to me. You know how much I love you, and I cannot say no to you.
No, I actually wanted to interview right after you won. Pero sabi ko, wait, parang gusto ko munang makuha niya yung crown. Kasi sayang naman if hindi niya pa ma-experience yung moment of like wearing the symbols of the
Do you want to
winner.
see the crown? It's
Oh my
behind
God, is it
me.
right there? Can you
Yes, it
quickly
is
show it?
here.
Oh, it's right there.
Yes, it is here. Yay!
Oh,
So,
how long did it take for it to ship to
para
the Philippines?
kasi inintay namin yung sash. The sash was actually
Ah!
made in Brazil. This is made in Brazil. So this is the sash.
Isa-isa pa siya.
Yes, oo, ayan.
Oh, that's
So this
why
is
it
the
took a
sash.
while.
Ayan. Gusto mo yung sinuot ko?
No, I was actually hoping that you would wear it, pero parang nung nag-on cam ka, sabi ko, it's okay, parang nakakahiya naman to demand na magsuot pa siya, pero parang, oh my God,
Ito na siya.
ang
Ayan.
ganda. I love it. I
So,
love it.
ayan. First time ko rin siyang i-wear na short yung hair ko.
So this
Ay,
is the
ayan.
dream come true of 4-year-old Mela.
Yes.
Imagine that. I forgot one last question pala, sorry, sisingit ko to. Um,
Go.
like, what do you think 4-year-old you would think now kung makita niya itong image na to of you, talking about winning a beauty pageant and wearing the crown?
She is probably jumping out of joy and will be telling me, I knew you would be a queen.
Right.
She's the one
Okay.
who hoped for this. And I will always owe it to her how much a big dreamer she was and she has been, because imagine a 4-year-old wanted to occupy an international stage. Diba? Ganon kalaki yung pangarap niya. Siguro I also owe it to my mama na laging sinasabi sa akin, kailangan malaki yung pangarap mo. Kailangan malaki yung pangarap mo. Ganun yung sabi sa akin ng nanay ko, because she tells me that when your dreams are big, you will allow yourself to regain every single skill that you need in life so that you can move forward and hopefully fulfill that dream of yours. And lagi sinasabi, nothing is impossible, especially in the hands of God. 'Di ba? Parang anything can happen. And right now, I can say that through the influence of my mama, of the 4-year-old self of mine dreaming big, it became possible. The crown is now on my head. 'Di ba?
Congrats.
And I am Miss Trans Global.
I love it. Congrats again. I think I'm not sure if I congratulated you enough the first time, but yeah, if they want updates on your future projects, the things that you're doing, and your life in general, like what social media handles can they follow?
Yes, you can follow me on Facebook. That is Miss Mela Habijan. I also have a YouTube account, which I need to update this year. That's Miss Mela Habijan as well. I'm on Instagram. I am on TikTok. And I'm also active now on Twitter. Thanks to Kerwin King. Kerwin King!
Kailangan i-shout out. Hindi pwedeng hindi ma-mention. Bongga.
Kasi, alam mo, nung sinestalk ko siya talaga, siya yung reason kung bakit ako bumalik ng Twitter.
Oo nga, hindi ka nag-Twitter.
Oo. Hindi ako
Sarah.
nag-Twitter for the longest time. Tapos nung biglang ano lang, mga September lang. Tapos, nakilala ko siya. Siyempre, pinag-chismisan na natin to. Ano pala ito? Tipas live pala to. Pero yung Kebs naman na, alam naman niya yun. So, di yun.
I mean, you've met already, di ba?
We've met already, oo. And he's a really, really, really nice guy. Smart one, very kind-hearted. So, yun. So, nakita ko siya, nasa active siya sa Twitter. Sabi ko, okay, papansin din ako. Magpapansin din ako. And then, pero,
Gusto pa yan.
doon ko naman din, doon ako na-open doon sa parang community of people who are very aware, socially aware. The discussions were there. And I do hope that those who are active on Twitter will also be active on Facebook, because I think most of Filipinos are on Facebook and they need to see the conversations on Twitter. Kailangan nating ilapag yung mga yan, ilapag natin yung mga arguments natin, especially nowadays with how we feel and see governance right now on a bigger social media platform, which is Facebook, especially here in the Philippines. Everyone is on Facebook. Diba? So sabi ko, dali natin yan sana. And ang sarap makakita ng like-minded individuals on Twitter. So kaya ako muling naging aktibo sa Twitter. And I am meeting so many faces and so many like-minded individuals, and that is a blessing. That is really a blessing because I am learning from them. So yun. So yun po, let's engage. Let's engage online, especially now that we are still in the pandemic. And hopefully, if this is over already, let's engage, diba, face-to-face naman. Kasi iba pa rin yung comfort of seeing each other, of hearing the voice, diba, being in the same venue, and just really enjoying the conversation over a cup of coffee. Sobrang looking forward ako dyan.
True, same. Mela, thank you so much for your time, and congrats again. And I'll see you online, hopefully offline, if it's safe again to go offline. Follow her on social media. Threesome is also on your Facebook page. It's the same
Yes.
page, so they can just check that for older episodes of your interviews. So yeah, follow Mela on Instagram and other forms of social media. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that if you can take away at least one thing from this interview, it's that engage, ask questions, but always be kind and earnest in doing so. This has been Deco Pin. Thank you for watching Rappler. For more interviews like this, follow Rappler on social media. Bye, guys.